Welcome to the KMC Collective Podcast, where the KMC team brings you practical insights, creative ideas, and authentic conversations for children's ministry leaders. Each conversation is packed with strategies to help you lead with clarity, build strong teams, nurture families, and stay healthy in the process. Whether you're planning lessons, training volunteers, or seeking encouragement for the week ahead, this podcast is for you. We hope to make you laugh, cry, think, and maybe a bit of all three in each of our weekly conversations. This is the KMC Collective Podcast. Let's jump into the conversation.
All right, and welcome to the KMC Collective Podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Ben.
All right, are you guys ready for this week's conversation?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. I missed
All
you
right.
guys last week. I heard you were at a conference without me.
Yeah. And then now we're doing the podcast without Vicky.
I know.
That's sad.
Who happens to be under the weather at this time of the recording. So, but yeah, I think all three of us had a great time. It was so cool meeting so many of the KMC family. Man, we had a bunch of people coming up, saying we're their podcast listeners, or they're part of the Facebook group, or
they're part of the Plus.
they're part of the Plus. I actually,
there was a lot.
Yes.
I met a lot of people that listen to us regularly, and that's pretty cool.
And we had a couple people join
Shout
the
out to you
Plus.
guys.
Yeah, we have a couple people
We did.
join the Plus while we were at the conference. So
Welcome to the Plus, everybody. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, welcome.
Yep. And a whole bunch of people that have joined the Facebook group, which, just a side note, a little asterisk, if you're going to join the Facebook group, we have some membership questions. And it says on the first question, you got to answer the questions. Leaders need to follow directions, right? We need to have that.
Sometimes I ask for forgiviess later, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we have a lot of people who just hit, I'm just going to join, and don't want to tell us anything about it. But we are particular. We do want to make sure that the group stays healthy and is in the right kind of people. And so we do ask people to answer the questions. So we always send them a note. And so if you are hearing the podcast and you're wanting to join the Facebook group, please answer those. In fact, let's give a shout out. Kathy and Annalise, you were two people who made a note in the answers to those questions saying, hey, I found the podcast and I love the format. I love the conversation, and I want to be a part of the conversation in the Facebook group. And so they joined the Facebook group. So really, really cool. So
welcome, Kathy, Annalise. And
welcome.
I keep seeing a bunch of people signing up. So welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's get this conversation started.
All right.
All year long. 2026. Let's go.
That's right. We got a lot of cool stuff coming. And so I had somebody ask this question, and especially after coming on the heels of Children's Pastors Conference, which they had 2 resource rooms this year. 2.
Wow.
I mean, they've never.
There was a lot
that.
of us.
There was a lot in that resource area. And I'm telling you, that resource room, both of them were so full of stuff that it was so easy to feel overwhelmed. And I had somebody, I'll honestly say, it's going to be a while before I get back over here because I'm overwhelmed. There's just so much stuff. I had no idea there were so many kid ministry resources and things out there. And you know what? It hit me that, man, there is. When I first started in kids ministry, there wasn't a lot. You didn't have 600 choices of curriculums. You didn't have podcasts out there. You didn't have magazines. You didn't have coaching and websites and music to choose from. And where do I order, videos from? And how do I find Bibles? And where do I get VBS curriculum? I mean, you only had like 3 publishers to choose from. And that was it.
Hold up, Tom. How long have you been in this thing? Where there was only 3 VBSs. Come on.
Yeah.
35 years. 35 years, man. And back then, yeah, shush.
It's okay, Grandpa.
I was in kindergarten.
Yeah. I know. But you know what? As somebody who gets overwhelmed pretty easy, I get it. I remember going into my first children's pastors conference going, I don't even know where to start in this room. This is crazy, all the stuff. They give you the big bag, full of stuff and
the bag.
And you got all the stuff to come through. And so I just thought if we could have a conversation with listeners out there who maybe they're walking into January and it has nothing to do with the conference. It's just that you just got done putting away the Christmas stuff and now you're already ramping up in the back of your mind. Summer is not that far away. Easter is even closer. Your pastor's coming and saying, "Hey, we want to do this new family thing," and you've got parents asking for help over here and there's all the stuff of ministry and life that just really gets overwhelming. And I just thought, could we have a conversation of what would we say to a leader sitting across from us on the other side of our virtual table, or you're watching us on YouTube, you can see us talking to you right now. And if we could share with them, how do you sort through what's good stuff versus God stuff? How do you, as the kids pastor, the kids director, how do you help your team see what matters the most and what we should be focusing on going into a new calendar year? It's not really a new ministry year. In fact, we're really in the second half of the minute. Now we're starting to think, oh my gosh, school is going to be out soon. Spring breaks. So how do you guys...
Don't get me started, Tom. Don't.
So how do you start? How do you help people wade through all this? Give me some of your best tips. I don't know about you,
but your intro just stressed me out.
I know. I feel like I gotta start.
So we're
hooked tomorrow.
Okay.
He started listing all this stuff, and I'm done. I turn off podcast. I gotta go now.
No, this is why you got to keep listening, because you two are going to drop some serious truth bombs. I hope.
Here's the hope.
Vicky, come to our rescue. Where are you? Vicky's probably listening to this going, you guys.
What I love about going to conferences is you always come back with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so exciting is I look at January and February as, man, the ignition has been started. This is, if last year's stunk and I ruined it by not doing exactly what I wanted to do or reaching the level I wanted to reach, this is a new opportunity. So you have to look at it as, man, this is a fresh start. 2026, we're going to come in with all these great ideas. And because I love ideas, I'm constantly brainstorming. My list is constantly growing. And so you have to literally take everything that you have put together list wise, take all these resources that you're seeing, and you really kind of, man, I would love to do this now. I would love to do this by the end of the year. I would love to do this within a couple of years, and really evaluate and juggle what's important. Does it fit where our church is at this moment? And how could it change the dynamic of our children's ministry? How much work is involved to get people on board to make this happen? And can I cast vision strong enough to get rolling?
Mm-hmm.
But man, January, February, let's go. I always bust out my VBS. By February 14th, I've already got a game plan because I'm looking that forward. Like January 1, I know exactly what I want to do for Easter. But I haven't put it on paper. I haven't cast vision. I know now this is game time to get rolling and starting to put meat to the idea or meat to what's in your head. Now it's time to get it out. So for me, stress, overwhelming is an opportunity. And you have to look at it that way versus the negativity that sometimes overwhelm brings you, stress brings you. I'm a positive person. So flip the script, look at it as game time. Number one, first round, Let's knock them out. Like let's get started and let's do it well. So for me, I flip the script and I look positive at what God has brought to my table, and I look at my list going, man, I got a lot to choose from. God, where do you want me to go? And then from there, cast that vision and start putting meat to it.
Oh, that's good. Good stuff.
I mean, mine's kind of in the same vein, and it kind of just a little builds off of what Ben said. Like, you know, you come back from a conference or you come back from a church thing and you got like a million. Like, I mean, as I always say, like going to a conference is like taking information from a fire hose. And then being at CPC, even in that vendor area, it was like information from a fire hose, and I didn't even go to a breakout. So like, there was just so much stuff. I think for me, I always start with like, foundationally, my ministry, God has called me or my ministry to something. And there's a mission, a vision, values. We're going somewhere. And I'll come in with like 30 or 40 ideas and go, oh my goodness, I want to do it all. And knowing I can't. It's not physically possible. Even if I have all the volunteers I could get, I still not physically possible to execute all of it. So I always tell people, take three things and go, are these three things, do they line up? Or I say, look at everything you have. Find three things that line up with where God has put your ministry currently and where you believe God's going to take your ministry in the future. And take those three things and go, how do I implement it? What do I need? What kind of teams do I have? Do I have the teams that can do this, or do I need to build teams? Is it worth building a team to do this thing? You know, there's a million different questions, but if you start with the planning piece, if you start with saying, this is where we're at, this is where God's taking us, and do these things line up with that? And then figure out the in-between piece. And they don't all have to be done now. Like, these could be three things you do over the next 3 years. It's not like all three has to be done in the next 3 months or 3 weeks. So kind of like realizing, kind of what Ben said, you know, you can get overwhelmed. You can get it all those things could be negative, but you got to flip it and make it an opportunity. There's an opportunity God has presented to you to move his ministry forward, and you get to lead that. And that's the cool piece of all of that stuff you get from when going to a conference or all that. So for me, it's, again, making it an opportunity, but trying to like make it bite-sized so that you're not totally overwhelmed with all that information.
What makes you pick those three out of all the stuff that you
That's just what I was going to ask. I was just going to ask that same question.
The three,
where do you get the wisdom to your top three? Like, how do you do
I mean, one, I'm going to pray about it. That's going to get some wisdom there. I'm going to have conversation with volunteers. I'm going to have conversation with staff and leadership going, does this, as you said, does this fit where our church is? That type of stuff. And at the same time, again, I go to my foundational piece, mission, vision, values. Where are we going? Does this fit within those confines? If it doesn't, then as much as I love it, I have to set it aside. Maybe we can come back to it. You know, put a pin in it, as they say. Put a pin in it. Maybe we come back to it in 6 months to a year. Maybe God moves us in that direction. But right now, do these three things fit where we're going? Does leadership approve? And, you know, all those types of things. And are my volunteers in a place where they could jump in and we as a team could come together and execute that ministry?
That's good stuff, you guys. I knew you were going to come through for me. I knew you were going to come through. Because, I mean, what you guys are really saying, I guess if I could summarize, is that you got to start with an end goal. You got to have a destination that you really want to take your ministry. It's got to be covered in prayer. It's got to be supported by your mission and your vision and your values. And your leadership's got to get behind it, meaning not just your senior leadership, but your leadership team, all your volunteers. They got to get on that rope and pull with you. And I think as you sit down, you know, and like Ben said, you know, I mean, a new calendar year is a fresh start. And it's one of those times where, man, you feel that freshness of a season. It's a great time to evaluate. And, you know, if here's something that got shared with me, and I have continued to share it with any person I've coached, is keep a file on everything you do, every event, every ministry, so that the next year you're pulling out that folder going, okay, what went well, What didn't go well? What did we learn?
Yes.
And then honestly, at the end of that, do we still believe that this is something we want to continue? You know, we've
Mm-hmm.
said it on this podcast before. Sometimes we're doing stuff that people are trying to tell us we don't want to do that anymore. They're voting with their feet. They're expressing their opinion with putting other things on their calendar than what
Yep.
you're planning. And some ministries have been doing the same thing the same way for so long that
Mm-hmm.
maybe some of the anxiety and the overwhelm is maybe that's the spirit telling you that that's not the direction you're going, because if God was in it, there should be clarity, right? If there's confusion, that's the enemy. But it's also, you know, I think it's one of those things where we just get so locked in on, well, this is my plan. We've always done it and we're going to continue to do it. And I pull those folders out and I'm looking, you know, back at my January the year before evaluation of how did I rate that year, and where did we grow? What are our numbers? What were some of those things that we were just like, man, by the time we were done with it, we were whipped and going, we don't want to do this anymore, or we're not doing it again. And that way, when you walk into as you're looking ahead, you've got some clarity for yourself of going, okay, you know what? We're not putting money, we're not putting talent into this. We're not going to lean. We got to come up with a different spin. I mean, honestly, that's how I shifted our vacation Bible school from a traditional
Mm-hmm.
everyday during the day 9 to noon thing to a 3-night family extravaganza. And it turned out to be better than anything we'd ever done as far as outreach. We saw more unchurched people coming in the building than we'd ever seen before. And it was something the families continued to talk to. Well, how did I get there? Well, I started in January praying it through and going, okay, God, I'm getting the sense that there needs to be something new here. And we've got to come up with something new. But I'll tell you, you know, the other part I liked how you said it is when you're starting to see all these resources, sometimes it's one of those things that you need to go, you know what, that's a great tool, but that doesn't quite fit what we're doing right now. And just because you see a lot of momentum online and social
Mm-hmm.
media of somebody pushing their brand or their stuff doesn't mean that that's the best thing for you. You know,
I mean,
and
it can be a tool in your toolbox later. It doesn't need to be a tool in your toolbox
yes,
now.
right.
You're not saying so I had a conversation with someone at CPC about a tool that they offer that could be a win in my ministry if I so choose to use it within the next year or two. And guess what? I'm not using it right now. I appreciate what they offered and it has its place, but right now it's just in the toolbox. We don't need to
Yep.
use it yet. But if
Yep.
some things shift in the next year or two, guess what? It's there. I know about it. I know how to use it. I know all that type of stuff. And so now I have a tool in my toolbox that if need be, a decision gets made and I have to go in another direction, I have it. And so, do the research, do the work, but don't know that sometimes you don't get to utilize it right away. Sometimes
Right.
God gives you the interaction or the person you meet and goes, hey, this is going to be a future thing, or this is going to be something else, later down the road. And so don't be afraid to go, well, why did I spend all that time with, so-and-so or at this booth or in this, breakout? Well, there'll be a reason for it at some time. And maybe it's not for your ministry. Maybe it's for, a friend's ministry, someone you meet and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I know a guy.
And
Yes.
with
Yeah.
technology, like taking everything that you get at like a conference or you see online, keeping track of it, you tend to
Mhm.
forget. I'm one of those that, man, there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
I had to learn, or I taught myself, and I had some people tell me of these things. Like Pinterest is amazing because you can create folders. And I know I'm speaking to kid ministry leaders out there. Pinterest is the golden, the holy grail of
Yeah.
kid ministry. Like Pinterest, you
Uh-huh.
can create, plan, you can get ideas. It's amazing. But I had people like turn me on to create an online notebook like OneNote or using your
Mhm.
notepad on your
Yep.
phone. And I just have a thought, put it in a note, save
Yep.
it, type it, boom. Another one that's been super helpful that I started doing when I go to conferences, and I've been going to conferences since like 2010. Every summer, every year, I've got so much paperwork and junk that you come back with. On kids ministry, we try to do away with the papers because they end up in the floorboard of your car.
Yep.
Well,
Yes.
the
Yep.
papers end up in your suitcase and they never make it out to the next time you use your suitcase. So I started, okay, 1 or 2 days after a conference, when I get a free second, I go through each one and I create, like, either I link it or a small note on Padlet. I don't know if have you ever heard of Padlet?
Nope.
It's
No.
like your own, literally your own Pinterest that you can create little squares. And it's like, okay, curriculum, here's the link, boom. And so when I'm going through looking for a curriculum, here's some really cool ones that I saw. It's just a link and it's like a Pinterest square. You click on it and it opens up whatever you want it to say and whatever link you connected to it. And
I'm
I
on the
love it.
website now, Ben.
It's amazing.
You got me
But
thinking, man. So I went
Yeah.
to the
Yeah. You're
website
gonna
as
have
you
to.
were
We'll have to
talking.
put this in the show notes because it
Yeah, for
sounds.
sure.
It sounds a lot like Evernote because that's what I use for many
Evernote is
many
good, but
years.
they started giving me some money
Well,
and it's
that's the
gotten
problem with them.
expensive.
Yes, I agree. They're too expensive.
But for
Yeah.
me, it's creating it to where I can go back and remember that moment, remember that conversation, remember the feelings that came with when I saw that booth or when I saw this website or I heard about it, when I visited this church that was doing this curriculum. I can go back when I'm actually looking for a curriculum or I'm looking for a vacation Bible school. I can go back to my VBS folder and I can say, "Ooh, I remember that one." Click on it, opens up a link, and I see my
Mhm.
thoughts.
Yep.
And organization keeps you from feeling
Yep.
overwhelmed
Yep.
because okay, I'm putting it in a vault. I'm putting it in a little filing cabinet virtually that I can go back to. I know my mom was my children's director. She also the piano player. She did a little bit of everything. And the other day I went to her house and she had a um, filing cabinet about those big tall ones. She goes, "Oh, let me look in my." And she pulled out all these drawers looking for this one thing, and it just had papers after papers after
Yep.
papers, felt board after felt board after felt board.
There you go.
And I'm like, "There's,
Kicking it
I'm
old
gonna
school.
teach you. I'm gonna teach
Eh,
you how to get digital, because it got
Yep.
overwhelming just looking at all those papers.
Yep.
It can get overwhelming bringing all those papers back from a conference or
Yeah.
hearing about the newest trend
Mhm.
in children's ministry.
Yeah.
So my challenge is like, let's get organized in 26.
Yep.
Fix
I think
it
that's
and
a
Yeah.
huge thing to fight overwhelm, and that's why I loved. I mean, I hate it that they're so expensive, but I would go by every booth, grab whatever they had to give away, because I'd bring it home and then I'd take a picture of it and put it right in Evernote because it tagged it for me. It had everything for me. And then all I had to do was search, you know, uh, Kidman Bible, and it would bring up all the different Bible places that I had. And now I'm moving more over into Google Drive and storing stuff there because yeah, Evernote has gotten so expensive. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, having a system where you pull that stuff together, but then also then looking at all that and going, you know what? Okay, that stuff I don't need to go down the wormhole for right now. I need to set it aside. I need to know what's coming ahead in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And I need to focus on those things and where I'm going and what do I need to accomplish those things. You take one bite at a time and you're going to get there. So, all right. So we've been talking a lot about overwhelm. What are some of your best secrets for how you bring overwhelm down for yourself? Because I think when we talk about it for ourselves, of how do we prevent us ourselves getting overwhelmed, it's going to help some of our listeners out there or those that are watching on YouTube. How do you guys keep the overwhelm um, alleviated? Because I mean, I think organizing is a good thing, but is there other things that you do to kind of help you as a leader push overwhelm back?
So I'll jump into this. No, I'm sorry, Ben. No. So when I was in college, I had to write this. So I took evening classes with like adult education classes, and to finish, I had this big presentation that took basically 2 years to do. And it was completely overwhelming for a 23-year-old person who was working full time and trying to pay bills and all that type of stuff. I remember talking to my professor about it, and she said to me, she goes, "Cole, you don't have to eat the elephant all in one bite. You just take one bite at a time." So
Yep.
she said, you find 30 minutes here, you find an hour here, and you just start chipping away at it. And you start without, you start biting it. But you do it one bite at a time. You can't eat the elephant in one bite. And so for me, as Vicky would say, keep it simple, Sally. And use your time wisely. And if you only get 30 minutes, take that 30 minutes and go get at it aggressively and figure out what you can accomplish in 30 minutes. And just little 30-minute chunks, little hour chunks. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of things to do, and the finished product will be there. And so for me, it's just realizing I can't do it all at once. It's just impossible, especially like if you think of like VBS. Like I just downloaded the VBS 3 weeks ago, and I'm about to sit down and look at the VBS. And it kind of talks about what Tom talked about in the first one. Year by year, build off what you already have. So don't try to bite everything all in bite, and at the same time build for year to year, figure out what works. Because if you know what works, then you don't have to redo it. You don't have to remake it. You already have that plan. You already have that template to work from. So step by step, one bite at a time, and build on what works, I would say. And you can take what works in one place and move it to the next thing. Like some of the stuff I do in VBS crosses over to Sunday morning, and vice versa. Some of the stuff on Sunday morning crosses over into VBS.
Good point.
And so don't be scared to find things that work both ways. Don't be scared to just do 30-minute chunks. When you break it down to 30-minute chunks or 1 hour chunks, it becomes way more manageable and way more easy to approach something as large as whatever your thing you're doing. So that's what I do.
That's good.
That's good. For me, I live off my calendar. If I don't, I am a very ADD. Look at the squirrels running down or the birds flying in the air, and I lose track of time. But one of the things that I've found successful, whether you're introverted or extroverted leader, whether you're a detailed or a creative, take a minute to brainstorm. So I call it my brainstorm break or my brainstorm block. And you just get alone with yourself and you literally just think. Like, I'm just gonna take a second. I started in prayer, like, okay, God, I got all this stuff coming up. I got this coming down. Like, go sit outside at a park bench. Go like to a Starbucks and just watch people. And as you're thinking, or should I say, Cole, taking a shower and just letting it pour come from the shower head. If you haven't, like,
Listen,
that's where
I
I
got
get a lot of my
feedback from
creativity.
multiple people. That is a thing
Yeah,
I now know people do, because people
At
told me they
10,
do
they
it.
say 10:43 at night or 7 something in the morning are your two most creative times. Like, be strategic. I'm gonna go sit in the corner of my sunroom and drink coffee, and I'm just gonna just me, nothing else in my
Mm-hmm.
head. But
Mm-hmm.
this is my brainstorm break, and in 30 minutes of just thinking of like, this is how it could be. This could be amazing, and then worry about the details later, but just think and take everything that's in your head and put it on paper. And I think that's, for me, the most successful thing. Um, it's also created a lot of crazy moments, but you don't give Ben more than 30 minutes at a time because he can get a little crazy.
Oh, Ben, I want to be there for more than 30 minutes, Ben.
We should
Those crazy
brainstorm
moments.
together. We can have some fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I think for myself when I start feeling anxious and overwhelmed is reminding myself consistency over perfection. I don't have to have it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
God can take my little and make it more. And so many leaders get so obsessed with perfectionism. They don't want to admit it, but they are. And even people who aren't perfectionists tend to want to be perfectionists for some weird reason. We can't. And I'm not saying we should just give it up and just slop things out there. No, God deserves excellence. Absolutely, hands down. I'm all for it. But I also think God wants to see us be consistent. And when we're consistent, we'll actually do more and be better productive and see better results if we're consistently doing things. But having that peace to know I don't have to be perfect. I'm just going to give God my heart and give him my best effort. And when I look at the overwhelm, I have to say, why? Why am I feeling that? I'm a why questioner. I will ask why a lot because I want to know, why am I feeling this? And did I procrastinate? Did I not plan well enough? Did I not delegate better? Can I delegate better? Because sometimes that overwhelm, there's a reason behind it. And sometimes I'm the cause of it, honestly. And then there's other times where it's the circumstances around me. When a senior pastor says, oh, and one more thing I want you to do. And you're like, sure, okay, let's just add that to the other plates that I'm spinning. So I do think that one of the things that I would encourage you, if you're struggling with that feeling of overwhelm, is step back, say, what can I consistently do? Where am I why am I feeling this way? And then maybe after you ask that question, you're going to see, okay, maybe I need to stop doing something, or I'm going to have to let this set aside for a little bit so that I can focus on this. And then maybe I need to ask for help. Maybe I need to get somebody to walk alongside of me for a little bit, help me process this, to talk it through. I think that's something that we all need from time to time. I'm so thankful for my coach in my life, who I can just talk things through when I need to. He's there. I can call him up and say, hey, I need to have a conversation. Am I crazy for thinking this? Or I'm really feeling the overwhelm this week. Can you help me process? And man, he just helps me think through. And then it's, well, hey, maybe I need to stop for a little bit. Maybe I need to spend some time in worship. Maybe I need to spend some time in scripture and allow the Holy Spirit to work with me.
I have an idea, Tom. 2026 is the year you get help. Call a coach. We got coaches here at KMC.
That's right.
Like we're sitting here waiting for you to call us, because I love to listen to people's problems. Like I got big ears for a reason. I grew up, and I feel like God has blessed me with good listening ears, and I would just love to listen and hear. I know, Cole, you have a heart for ministry. Tom has a heart for people, because that's how I came to know Tom. And Vicky's just outstanding as well.
Oh man.
We are coaches that want to help you be successful. And if you feel overwhelmed, there's 4 people right here you can choose from that will listen and encourage. And man, that's what I love about the Kid Ministry Collective group, is it's not just us sitting here at this table, but it's a group of other people in children's ministry. They're going through the same jump, that if you put your stuff out on Facebook in this group, somebody's going to chime in and somebody's going to give you some valuable insights. So welcome to the group, those that are just joining. If you're part of the group, speak up. We can't do this alone. We are better together, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So head over to kmccoach.net, set up a clarity call. It takes 30 seconds of insane courage to just go over and hit that clarity call button, pick a coach, set it up, talk, have that conversation. It'll be a game changer. I can tell you it will be.
And share the podcast with people, because that's how we help others, is by you pressing forward, passing it on.
That's right.
Rate the podcast. We can't reach more people if we're not at the top. So put us there. We want to,
we're not at the top.
Wow, that was a shameless plug.
We want to be. I'm not asking for you to rate top notch, but like,
Yeah, we are. We want 5 stars. Come on, be honest.
we want to be able to reach more people for Jesus and
That's
passion
right.
for children's ministry.
Yeah.
And so we can't do it ourselves. That's why we're better together. There's a star button, you thumbs up,
There you go.
share, whatever you got to do.
Hit it.
To
Yeah, and
pass
it
on the
really does
collective.
make it seriously, folks. It does make a difference. You do help us get out there and extend the reach. So yeah, if you could just take 30 seconds to rate us on the podcast app you're listening to, or go to YouTube and leave us a review there, it will really help us a lot. And if you're looking for a
Well-
tribe, if you're looking for a community, check out kidminplus.net. It's an amazing community where you get access to all of us as coaches. You can chat with us. We do live coaching in there. We do live table meetups where we come all together as a community and share ideas and talk, have a conversation. That's what it's all about. So come join us in the Plus. We would love to have you there. So, all right, that's going to wrap up this week's conversation. Again, we'd love to have you join us. Thanks again for listening to us. Until next time, my friends, I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I have been Ben. Have a good night.
We're out.
Hey, friend, that wraps up the KMC Collective Podcast for this week. Thanks so much for listening. If today's episode sparked something, an idea, a heartbeat, or a fresh start, drop us a line at tom@tombump.com or reach out on social media. We'd love to hear your story and keep the conversation going. Remember, you're not just doing kids ministry, you're shaping the next generation's faith with intention and care. Be encouraged, be creative, and take a breath. You've got this. Catch you next time on the KMC Collective Podcast.